Today we're going to dive into a really powerful, kind of wild idea from the thinker Nassim Taleb. It's called antifragility. And honestly, it's a concept that challenges pretty much everything we think we know about safety, comfort, and progress. And it all kicks off with this one big, provocative question. In our constant race to solve every problem, get rid of all risk, and just, build this perfectly comfortable world, are we actually making ourselves weaker, more fragile? So Taleb came up with this word, antifragile, to describe something that's way beyond just being resilient or tough. See, it's not about just putting up with stress. It's about actually getting better because of it. It's a system that gets stronger when it gets hit with shocks and chaos. Okay, this is where the idea really starts to click. We all get what fragile means, right? It's like a crystal glass. You drop it, it shatters. Simple. Now, we usually think the opposite of that is robust, like a plastic cup. It can take a hit, no problem. But Taleb says, no, that's just neutral. The true opposite of fragile is the anti-fragile, something that would actually get better if you dropped it. Now, since there's no real physical object that does that, we have to look to mythology. And the Hydra? It's the perfect symbol for this whole thing. Every time Hercules lopped off one of its heads, 2 more grew back even stronger. The monster literally thrived on being attacked. It became more powerful with every blow. That is anti-fragility in a nutshell. So how does this play out in the real world? Well, it creates this huge paradox that you can see everywhere. We've built a world that is, by every objective measure, safer than ever before, and yet we seem to be more anxious than ever. And, this isn't some new age hot take. Way back in 1904, the sociologist George Simmel basically called it. He predicted that our modern city life, the constant competition, the focus on money, would mess with our heads, making our nervous life way more intense. He saw that the very engine of progress could actually be a source of suffering. And this gets to the very core of this trade-off with modernity. For every big problem we solve, it feels like we create a new, trickier one. Yeah, we live longer, but now we have a crisis of loneliness among the elderly. We have safety nets to catch us, but so many people feel this nagging lack of purpose. And the fact that we have so much food, it's created a whole new set of health problems. So this leads us to a really difficult but fascinating question. Were our ancestors, the ones who faced real, immediate dangers every day, actually more resilient, more anti-fragile? Because of it? Did all that hardship give them a kind of strength that maybe we're missing now? The scholar Jared Diamond takes this idea even further, with a hypothesis that is, pretty challenging. He asks, what if ancient humans, living in a world where pretty much everything was trying to kill them, actually had to be more intelligent in a practical, street smarts kind of way than we are today? Diamond's whole point is that back then, survival was a daily, high-stakes intelligence test. You were constantly solving these complex life-or-death problems. Natural selection literally favored practical intelligence. But in our modern world, survival is often taken care of by systems, not by our own cleverness, which might just mean we're not being selected for that same kind of broad problem-solving skill anymore. And here's the thing. This isn't just some abstract social theory. It is literally written into our biology. I mean, think about your immune system. It's a perfect antifragile system. Getting exposed to germs and pathogens doesn't just weaken it. It challenges it, it trains it, and ultimately it makes it stronger and way more prepared for the next thing that comes along. Okay, so let's take this idea of anti-fragility and apply it to something really specific, the human virtue of courage. In a world that's basically designed to get rid of physical risk, what happens to our ability to be brave? Taleb makes this absolutely brutal claim about courage. Think about it. You can say you're honest or disciplined or generous, but courage? You either show up when you're tested or you don't. You can't just talk about courage. You have to do it. This idea goes way back to Aristotle. Virtue isn't something you just have, it's something you do. It only becomes real when things get tough. Without that stress test from reality, without a little bit of chaos, all our so-called virtues are they're just unproven theories about who we think we are. And get this, even the father of modern capitalism, Adam Smith, was worried about this. He worried that a society totally focused on business and comfort and just peaceful trade would slowly chip away at what he called the heroic virtues. He was afraid that if we didn't need warriors anymore, we might actually forget how to be brave. So, what do you think? Has courage just found new places to hang out? Is the modern battlefield just the risk of starting a business or speaking an unpopular truth or standing up to some big corporation? Or, as Adam Smith worried, is it a virtue that's just slowly fading away in a world that doesn't really demand it from us anymore?
So if our idea of courage is changing, what does that mean for the systems that run our lives? If our world values safety and stability above everything else, what kinds of people end up getting rewarded and promoted to the top?
Well, the economist F.A. Hayek had a pretty dark but fascinating answer. He argued that in these huge, complex political systems, the people who climb to the top are rarely the most noble or the most courageous. Instead, the system tends to pick the people who are willing to do whatever it takes to get there. And this forces us to face a really uncomfortable truth, doesn't it? In a lot of our modern systems, the best traits for just surviving and getting ahead might be the exact opposite of those heroic virtues. Is it often smarter to be compliant than courageous? To just go along to get along instead of defying anything? To keep your head down and not take a principled stand so you can protect your job and pay your mortgage? It's a sobering thought for sure. The very systems we built for stability might be weeding out the very virtues we say we admire. And so, this whole thing comes back to you. If we accept that stress and challenge are what make us grow, then we have one last question to ask ourselves. In a world that is begging you to avoid risk at all costs, where are you going to intentionally find the chaos you need to become anti-fragile? Because in the end, a life without any scars might also be a life without any strength.